G'day folks, welcome to part 2 of the lathe modification. I've already got the spindle back in. It's quite easy, just slip straight back in the way it came out. The drive pulley just clears the headstock. That's all good. I'm just working on removing the old backstand and motor, and then I'll get into fabricating a mount for the new one. Also means I can get rid of these timbers that were used to support the old one. That's all irrelevant now, so all that comes out and should be good to go again. I've also got Julian here today. He's playing around with Fruity Loops and some remakes of the original Doom soundtrack, so you'll see that on his channel and a bit of my channel. Possibly a doomed ATM coming to the nearest bank near you. Okay, so everything's set in place. Now I'm just I'm going to reuse the old backstand, and I've mounted a aluminum doubler plate to the existing timbers. I'll remove these ones here, but these pairs will stay in place, and I'm just going to weld up a little pivoting motor mount for it. That will get welded on like so. The motor will sit further back. It's going to, obviously the pulley has to line up. The feet are not too far off where the pulley is, so the feet are going to be about here, and that's sort of why I've got the extended mount. It won't get in the way of the tubs too much. It's going to be out here. Belt does have to be straight up and down, and I'm going to have to grub screw that oil screw there. Not too hard, and yeah, it should be right. I've just got a bit of machining to do at the moment. That and welding. Well, TIG welding. A lot of TIG welding actually. The front jack or tension adjustment is going to come down here and just get screwed straight into the wooden table. It's the only way I can really do it. Now that the old switch box is gone, I can just come straight down. Should be pretty good, with almost unstoppable torque. I've purchased a 1 horsepower VFD. I've got heaps of small ones now, like half horse, but I want this thing to have a bit of grunt, and since this motor's 1 horsepower, I'm going to match it with the proper VFD and install it in its own cabinet with braking resistor and everything, start stop station, e-stop, that sort of thing. The thing will basically stop on a dime. It'll be, yeah, possibly even reverse current, or not reverse current, DC injection braking into the motor. So as soon as you press stop, the spindle stops. It doesn't coast down, it just bang, braking. So yeah, this thing's going to work really, really well. Alright, it's welding time, and Julian wants to watch. Yeah, he's got his little face shieldy thing, which is kind of essential when you're welding. And I've gently tacked together enough material just to mount the motor. It'll still hinge, and I am still using the old backstand, but I'm just going to have a prop rod come straight down from here, probably weld a nut or a like a bearing boss on here, straight down to the front of the table, and it'll be probably have a hand wheel or just a nut, sort of like a turnbuckle. I might even find, I think I have a big turnbuckle that can be cut and shut and modified and used for such a purpose. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly finish welding this up. Julian can do his thing and watch like the serial killer he looks like with that thing on. He's up to no good. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
I can't see anything through that.
No, that's the idea. If you look up at a metal halide lamp, you should just be able to see the arc bulb. I don't have any of those, so...
I can see the fluoro tubes, but that's about it.
Yeah, it should be a very dim, greeny, yellowy grey. That's about it. Yeah, that's normal. So
really good lighting to weld with an old-fashioned type.
That's why I put the handle on it. I put the handle and the hand shield on it just so that I could use it as a pop-up. That used to be a flip-down type. And you can see how many times I put the rod holder down inside it, and the rod has made its little indentations inside it. It's a very, very well-travelled welding mask, and I still love using it for stick welding, not TIG welding.
Is it not so great for TIG welding?
Well, you need both hands. One hand on the torch, one hand on the filler rod.
Touche.
That's where the all electronic comes in, which it has a habit of turning on when the fluoros hit it. Looks fine now, and then you go up to the fluoros and it turns on. So if you get too much reflection off the stainless steel, it goes black. I'm gonna have to, well, even playing with the sensitivity, I think there's something wrong with it, or the battery's just getting low. It's having issues.
And the last time the battery's low, it kept blinding you instead.
Well, it'd blink, yeah, it'd turn it on and off. No, it's not doing that yet, but even still, yeah. I'll play with it. That's only shade adjustment. You got off or grinding, if you're going to use it as grinding visor, and then you got shade adjustment. So it was almost dark, but the sensitivity is still, delay's low. Sensitivity's halfway almost, so about where I left it. Again, cheap mask, $40 mask. What can you say? It's not going to be perfect.
Still looks pretty cool for a $40 mask.
Yeah, it's got flames. Anything with flames and flaming skulls is worth like $40.
Flames!
Eventually I'll buy one of the big widescreen Miller ones, but they're about $300-400. But those things will last a lifetime. They're really good masks. I am missing a glove, but I don't care. That's how you get the TIG tan. Sensitivity. Let's turn that down.
You're still having issues.
I'll turn the sensitivity down, the delay up. It's just way too sensitive. That's better. Freestanding TIG welding is not that easy. No, it's still going out with the lights.
That sounds just a little bit gassy.
I'm not going to seam weld the damn thing. That's actually more than enough for what I'm doing.
It'll keep your motor in place.
Bit in the corner.
definitely nice and bright.
Yeah.
Just watching it light the whole wall up right behind you.
It's like 24 volts at 110 amps. No, 145 amps.
Every time you strike the arc, I just realised all I can hear through these speakers is pop.
Yeah. That'll probably be resetting my router as well. You might see some noise activity on the report.
If I don't have the report running at the time, I don't see it. The graph's real time.
Ah. That'll do just fine.
That'll hold your motor up.
Alright, looking pretty good. Ready to mount the motor back up and put the jacking stand in place. Should work quite well. Hopefully. This is all completely improvised, but I'm hoping I can just mount a jacking stand off there and it'll be, well, functional enough. I don't want to over tension the belt and do any damage to the well, there's no bearings in it. It's well, it's basically a hardened steel spindle on cast iron. There are no bronze or brass bearings, no ball bearings, no roller bearings. It's just metal on metal with an oil film. There's a felt wick up inside there, which is still good and working, and that's about it. So, good old Warboard production machine. It's not made for longevity, but it's well and truly outlasted its original intended lifespan, which is always a good thing. That's the belt that I'm running on it. 6PK0955 375K6. I was originally going to use a 3S FE belt, RAV4 Celica Camry, but it's too long. I do have surplus of them, but they're just too long, so I'm going for a much shorter belt. I've got no idea what that came off, but Repco catalogue will find me a new replacement when I need it. So yeah, that's all good. 10mm bolts, ready to go. We can mount the thing up and be pretty good. What do you reckon?
Be lathing again in no time.
Lathing.
Lathing.
Machining.
Yeah, close enough. No,
So-
it's a lathe. You're lathing.
There's always an argument about that. It's like the difference between pipe and tube. I have the same argument at work.
They're exactly the same thing.
I have the same argument at work about pipe and tube. We use extruded aluminum tube to make rollers, but people still call it pipe because it's a hollow cylindrical piece of aluminum
And you
extrusion.
can make annoying noises with it.
Exactly, and annoy the neighbours and knock stuff off their shelves if you put enough gas and flame through it.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's not.
Alright, well that just looks really nice. That's a decent horsepower conversion for a very old machine. Again, I don't want to over tension the belt. It's just sort of sitting there at the moment, but I might release some of the tension on the belt and yeah, I'll be ready to go. I'll replace the back gear drive pin, although it does work perfectly fine in back gear. Yeah, I just need to make a adjustable mount to go straight down to the face of the workbench, and pretty much done. That and take it off and paint it and give everything a nice machinery grey coat. I still have a can of this machinery grey epoxy enamel, so everything will get a coat of that and it will look the part. Very nice. Okay, so everything works fine apart from the pulley itself on the motor. This one's fine, it's concentric. That one there has a horrible wobble that throws a really nasty vibration through the whole bench. Like you couldn't machine with it, couldn't use it. So I'm gonna have to take that off, bore it much larger, sleeve it, and I'll do it at work. I'll just take it to work and redo it. It was worth a shot. I almost got it, but not quite. So yeah. these little drives. It's only a tiny 0.4, I'm running 0.75, but since there's no load it doesn't really care. There's a little bit of a wobble. Not good. I don't need that. I'm going to have to do this remachine and sleeve at work. And since I'm at work I might as well put it in the EDM and EDM a square key slot. Bit of a shame considering what time I spent on the original one, but hey, it was worth a shot. It's just not going to do. It's not fit for purpose anyway. It's not fit for service. So yeah. Oh well. I've got a new drive coming, 1 horsepower, 0.75 kilowatt. I'm going to set it up about the same. Good dynamic braking, also going to have a braking resistor on it. Start stop station, forward reverse rotary switch. It'll make this thing so much more useful. This side's perfectly fine. That side needs some attention, but that's all good. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more next week when I get the remachining work done. Alrighty, about a week later I've done a little bit more work. The main pulley for the motor's still at work. I'm going to bore and sleeve that out tomorrow and do it properly. Get it to run a lot more concentric. This one's spot on. I've had an indicator on it and it's out by bugger all. It's about maybe 0.1 millimeters of run out, which is fine for just a V-belt pulley. The other one was out by like 0.5 mil or more. I didn't actually put a indicator on it, but you could visibly see it oscillating. So that's all good. The mount's painted, at least mostly. Quick paint job. I'm going to have to bolt a shackle and turnbuckle to the face of that and just run it down to here. That's no problem, so that's already in. I've painted it enough to be permanent. I know it's a different shade of grey, but it doesn't matter. It's got paint on it. So yeah, finish it off. I'll finish putting the end closures in it and everything. That's all good. The motors had the same treatment. It's all industrial epoxy enamel, high quality. So yeah, it's ready to go back on. It's actually got oil in it. When I found it, I ran it. Like, I think V8 Jagnut gave me this one. I ran it a few times and all that, and all good. And never really thought to check the oil on it. And I try and just dipstick it with a piece of MIG wire and TIG wire, and there's absolutely nothing in it. But it shows all the signs of never being used, like the paint was never cracked off around the feet like you would get when you tighten bolts down. Nothing. The thing had never ever been used. It was brand new old stock, so it had no oil in it. It's super quiet now that it's got oil in it, and hopefully no one's run it long enough to damage it. I mean, I've ran it for a very brief amount of time just testing it, but you could always hear a bit of whirring, which I'd expect from a gear reduction box, but now it's got some hypoid gear oil in it, just transmission oil in it. It's a happy little motor, so that's ready to go on. And I also bought a new little drive to go with it, because these ones here are only small fractional horsepower. I got on eBay and found a new old stock, like industrial surplus, 1 horse Delta VFD for under $200, which is basically half of what you'd pay retail. I haven't plugged it in yet, so I'm going to make sure it works, make sure nobody's blown it up and put it back in the box and forgotten about it. But extremely unlikely, because they do run 415 or 240, and again, it shows no signs of ever being used, but again, it's just something I have to test. I believe they have a 30-day dead on arrival refund guarantee at the surplus store that was selling them. So needless to say, I'll be keeping an eye on this industrial surplus seller, because they don't ask the world for something which is basically a brand new product without its original seal on it. So yeah, that'll get tested out shortly. If it works, hasn't been blown up and thrown in the junk pile by somebody else, well, that's good. If not, I'll send it back and get another one. So yeah, I'm going to mount the motor back up on this. I'll use the prop for the time being, and then work on an adjustable turnbuckle. I don't want too much tension on the belt, it just loads up and heats up the bearings. Originally it was designed to have the belt going through the base, so most of the wear on the bearings is actually on the bottom. So I'm sort of pulling the spindle up now. Probably not a good thing, but again, it can wear onto the newer unused bearing surfaces. It probably actually helps it. So yeah, it'll work alright. I just don't want a huge amount of up force on it. You don't need much force with so much belt wrap on these things. Virtually very little. And if it does start to slip, I'll just give it a tiny bit more.